Jake
Let's do it.
Plunkett with Grindstones Reflections. I tell you what, man, I'm excited to have you on here because you are in Australia.
Yes, I am.
And for those listening, which is everybody other than you and I, it for me it is almost 1 a.m. and for you it is what, almost 3 in the afternoon?
Yeah, 2:40 p.m.
2:40. Yeah,
2:40
yeah.
p.m.
So like
Thank you for accommodating. That's a good effort.
that's no big deal, man. Like I said, I do most of what I do is businesses. So nights, holidays, weekends, that's when I do most of my work. So right now it's like a Friday night. I didn't do any strenuous work tonight, as you can tell. I just literally ran in the door, grabbed my laptop, and sat down and having a few adult beverages. But yeah, I'm usually not in bed till late anyway, so it's not that big a deal. So
Yeah, well, I guess where would we start this? So, how did you find me? That's interesting to me. And then I've got some questions for you as well.
you're in my algorithm, bro. Like you are.
I'm in the algorithm.
You are in my algorithm. There's a handful of guys that I see their videos all the time, and a lot of them are in the U.S. And then there's actually quite a few that are in the UK, but they're hardwood guys. So they do a lot of hardwood out in the UK, or at least the videos that are in my algorithm. And then one day I just started seeing you, and I heard the voice. I'm like, well, he's down under somewhere. And I started watching your videos. I mean, this morning, like I woke up, I wasn't even out of bed yet. And one of the first videos that pops up is one of yours, and I sit there and watch it. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's
it's
how I found
crazy,
you.
man. It's incredible, isn't it? Like that we can be across the world from each other. The social media just connects all these people.
Yeah, and
Uh,
like I told you before we started recording, man, this is just like two dudes talking about things they like, and
right.
you clearly enjoy what you do, and I enjoy what I do, and like, why not talk about it, share some knowledge, and you know, make our own little brothership from across the world. Why not?
Nice. And I really enjoy so because I came over to World of Concrete, I flew over in
Oh, did you?
um yeah, I came in January, so I spent time in Vegas.
Oh, nice. I didn't get to go.
Yeah, true. So like big trip, it was like 20, took me over 20 hours to get there. I think it was 26 hours home from Texas. And
Mhm.
that was when I finally made a commitment to be on camera. Before that, I would do like a little like I was doing videos and like my brother does content creation. So he would sit down and interview me and we just overlay my voice.
Yeah.
And when I was going to the States, I was like, I feel like it's important that I document some of it. And I was like, it'd be interesting for people to see what we're doing and it can show people that we're interested in the future, interested
Mhm.
in progressing our business and all these sorts of things. And for like 3 days straight, I'm just like too scared to get on the camera. And I was like trying to do all this scripted bullshit. And then
Yeah.
I just got the camera and I just set it down and I was like, I'm just going to freestyle riff. I'm going to make mistakes. The idea is just put out content. It's not going to be perfect. It's just going to be whatever happens, happens. And
Mhm.
I just let go of all the pressure associated with being on camera. And since then, I think my following went from like just under 500. And then in the last 4 months, I've got what? So it's like 3x. I'm up over 1,500, nearly 1,600 now. And I've had probably 5 or 6 million views.
Nice. That's great. Since
Yeah,
January.
crazy.
That's great, man. Like,
Yeah,
ah, but I had the opposite problem with you. I didn't have any problems being on camera. Like being on
yeah,
camera didn't really bother me. Like I don't know if you looked into me at all, but I do content creation as well,
yeah.
for my business and for myself. Just, some of it's informative and some of it's just me just having fun with what I do. But I had no
It's not
problem being on
fun.
the camera. But ironically enough, I hated the sound of my voice, so I didn't want
Same.
to speak on camera. And then I would tell that to people, and then I would also tell people, "Hey, I started a podcast." I'm like, "You started a podcast, but you don't like your voice? Like, what's up with that?" You know. But I've gotten better at like not being bothered by my voice, I guess. Like, and this microphone helped because I didn't like the tinny sound that I would come off like a cheap microphone, so I bought a real microphone, and it seems to help
Nice.
with
It
how I.
makes me cre- it makes me cringe. I've just started doing these like voiceovers
Yeah.
and like I look at content creation and the videography is like how
Mhm.
I view my work and how I am as a person. Like I'm just trying to learn and be curious, and it's become like a new passion where you're like, let's just throw things at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Like let's just see what sticks. And I took off that lens of being like a really harsh self-critic and just said like just have fun with it, and yeah, just see what happens.
Do you have
But
a
anyway,
do you have a hard
you go.
time when you're doing the voiceovers and you're kind of describing what it is you're doing? Do you have a hard time deciding on what you're going to say or how you're going to say it? Because I have a hard time with that. Anytime I've ever tried to describe something as I'm working or try to do a voiceover for it later on, I can't do it. It in my mind, it either sounds stupid, it sounds terrible, or I ramble, and I tend to ramble. So I'll start giving a
So,
description, and my description will be 15 minutes long, and I'll be like, I got to edit this thing down somehow, and
uh,
I usually end up giving up on it. Every time I've tried
that's
that,
so
I've
funny.
given up, and I've just
Yeah.
done like the AI voiceover thing.
Oh, nice. So yeah, I only did it for the first time recently, and I just said some random shit in under 13 seconds. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, what did I say? It was like something about how I was grouting the floor. So I'm like, every task we do with the big machine, we do with the small machine. That means a lot of times on our hands and knees. And then I'm like, but that's okay because we love filling holes.
Yeah. Was that what you were putting something on the edge and you were grinding the edge? Yeah, I saw that one too. I think I saw that one today. Yeah. So that's awesome,
Oh,
man. You brought back memories, like, 'cause you said you had flown to it was like 20-hour flight for you to the
yeah,
US. My wife is from the Philippines and
nice.
born and raised there, and we when we met, she was living there, and she actually moved here to marry me. And
Hmm.
so when we were dating, I would go down there and see her, man. I would there were some of my flights like that. They were 19, 20-hour flights. I had one that was 20 hours from Detroit to like Singapore or something like
Yeah,
that. No, Detroit to Shanghai. Detroit to Shanghai, 20 hours. And
yeah.
then like a 2-hour flight to the Philippines. But man, brings back memories. And I'm a big guy. Like I'm 6'3", and
Hmm.
being crammed into a plane isn't fun. We went back to the Philippines this last April, and we took our kids,
Hmm.
and it wasn't even easy. It was not easier with kids. It was harder
No,
with kids.
I've got two kids as well,
Yeah.
so they keep me nice and busy. So like tell me, I to be honest, I haven't done like the full deep dive on your page or anything yet. And I was like, I've been on two podcasts in the last like 3 weeks. I went on one yesterday, which is a local Canberra one. So like
Yeah.
we're in the capital of Australia. We're down in the south. We're 2 hours inland of the southeast coast of Australia. And so that's the capital city.
Okay.
So uh we like the
Southeast.
podcast.
So so I'm not really familiar with Australia. Like, isn't Sydney on the west coast and Perth is on the east coast? Is that correct, or am I wrong? Opposite. Okay.
The
So,
1%. Yeah. So we are 3 hours from Sydney,
okay.
and we're 3 hours south, and then we're 3 hours from Melbourne, but
Oh,
3 hours north. So Sydney and Melbourne were going to be the capital city, and they just boom, that goes Canberra right in the center.
gotcha. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a new podcast in Canberra, and it's about like promoting like good culture and like uh bringing excitement back into the industry for people because we have all these like TikTok influencers coming and like doing building reports and like tearing shreds on builders and like
Hmm.
making people look like shit. And we've had like this huge housing crisis over here and like the trades are just getting smashed and it's really difficult. So no one wants to be a part of the trade industry. They're really struggling to get young people through the industry.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to get all these like people with passion to come on and talk about their experiences in the industry and promote like a good culture and show people that like it can be a really exciting thing to do and a really exciting thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's pretty cool. And I say that because I did that yesterday and my mind was going crazy about being on that podcast because I was like thinking about all these different things and I didn't take a chance to like sit down and deep dive in what you actually did. So I thought it would be interesting while I'm on here to ask you like what exactly is it that you specialize and focus on and do with your businesses?
Okay. First, before I answer that, I got to tell you, um, I don't know how much American culture you get where you're at, but there is a American podcast here who is ran by a like a I guess a B-list celebrity. It's called
Yeah.
the way I heard it with Mike Rowe. Have you ever heard of Mike
Yeah. Okay.
Rowe, Dirty Jobs? He had a show called Dirty Jobs, and his whole thing was
Yep.
back in the 2000s, he would go around and show people these non-glamorous jobs. And anyhow, now
I remember.
his whole life is in the last 10 years has changed to where his whole focus is on bringing interest back into to trade jobs, and he's not political. He doesn't care about politics. All he cares about is, you know, the people who are actually building the infrastructure of our lives these days, not the people that
Yeah.
sit behind the computer. Like we need. In fact, I released a video recently, and I used his voice as an overlay, where he says that we've been telling entire generations of kids that they have to get a 4-year degree or they're screwed.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
anyhow,
And they,
it's funny that you bring all that up because this whole podcast is birthed from him. Like, I think he's phenomenal, and he's the only podcast that I like listen to no matter what. Everybody else is kind of like guest dependent, but with him, I listen to it because I like what he's saying, and he's just a I like listening to him. But anyhow, to answer your question, um, I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is on the southern east coast of the U.S. So it's very
yeah.
hot here right now, and I sweat my ass off all day, every day.
Yeah.
Probably the same for you as well, I guess. But
No, man, right now it's freezing. Right now it's really cold.
is it really?
Yeah, so right now we're getting damn, what's the conversion? So we've been getting -7 mornings, -7 degrees Celsius, which would be like when I go out in the morning, my windows are frozen. This morning I poured warm water on my window on my windscreen,
Hmm.
and then I went and put the jump back, and then I came back out and it was frozen over again.
Oh, that's crazy. I forget. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys, we opposite seasons, right? Now
correct.
here, like it's been in the mid 90s Fahrenheit, so Celsius, that's
Nice.
like mid 40s, I'd say, probably like 44
Probably,
Celsius, somewhere around in there.
yeah, maybe a bit less because it's hot. That's
Yeah,
hot.
like I'm pretty sure I got
After I wonder.
I'm pretty sure I got like low heat exhaustion last week working outside. It was bad.
Yep.
But anyhow, so my dad started a floor refinishing business in the 80s. And for businesses, do you have VCT tile down there?
No, but maybe something similar. What is it? VCT.
VCT tile is very common here, or was very common here in restaurants, shopping stores, retail stores, and they're usually 8, 9, or 12-inch tiles, and you put wax on them, and then every year or
Oh,
so you strip the wax off and you put fresh wax on it.
yes.
It's
Okay.
VCT, vinyl composite tiles, what they call it. And so that's what
Yeah.
he did for years and years and years. He would just strip and wax VCT floors, which is similar process. You run a heavy machine over it, kind of like a grinder, that
Mm.
tears up all the old wax, and then you clean the floor really good. Then you just put new wax down.
Do you use chemicals to help break down the wax
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
strip it?
it's a wet process. You use chemicals to help break it down.
So what do you use? Is it like citrus based? Is it?
Well, no, it's like a base. It's like there's an acid, then there's a base. It's more of a base than an acid, and it's I don't know exactly the exact chemical
You know, so,
structure of it, but it's like a drain cleaner. Like we've ran out before and went and got drain cleaner off of the shelf and used that.
oh,
Like
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and it basically dissolves the wax, or it kind of dissolves it, and then you run the machines over it to help break it up completely off the
Mhm.
floor. And then it's all wet, so you suck it up. We use auto scrubbers to suck up the residue, the slurry, and
Yeah.
then mop clean afterwards with just clean water and a mop. Once it dries,
Yeah.
you apply 4 even coats of wax.
And how do you apply the wax? You mop it
We we
or
use we use an 18-inch flat mop applicator. So I
18
saw a
inch? It's like
video of you,
microfiber.
yeah, just like that. Like I saw you guys actually this morning, that's the video I watched you guys do. I think you were putting a densifier down,
Yeah,
and it was very similar. Yeah, it looked just like it. So
yeah,
so
interesting.
for from the day my dad started the company until about 3 years ago, that's all we did was
Yeah,
VCT. Literally everything. Um, I did. We went separate ways back in the 90s, like the late, oh no, the early 2000s. I got married, and like in 2005, I got married, and we split up. Like he gave me my own work, and I went my way, and he kind of went his own way, and then I also had a short career outside of floors for a while, where I worked for Walmart. Um,
nice.
worked at Walmart for a little while. I still did floors on the side, but I had a career at Walmart. Then about 3 years ago, my dad retired and called me and said he was retiring and he was giving up the business, and wanted to know if I knew anybody that would want to buy him out. And I said, sure, I'll buy you out. And so I bought him out, quit my job at
Uh-huh.
Walmart, and went back to doing
Yeah,
floors full time and solely full time. And when I did that, I said, well, it's time to diversify. And so I bought some concrete grinders and some vacuums and started, dabbling in epoxy and doing a little bit of polished concrete. I don't get a lot of the polished concrete. I don't get a lot at all. I do a lot of refreshes.
yeah,
Um, I get quite a bit of like polished concrete maintenance and refreshes, but I never rarely get the chance to actually do the actual work. But
the
anyhow,
work.
that's me. That's me in kind of like a nutshell. That's where, and then about I started making content for my channel like last September and started putting this idea together for this podcast because I thought it would be just a great way to network with people,
Yeah,
and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And then there was a guy in Atlanta, which is about an hour and a half from here, and he has a pressure washing business and he has a pressure washing podcast, and he invited me to be on his podcast. So I came on his
nice.
podcast, and as soon as I got off, like I talked to him about how he started his podcast while I was on it. And as soon as I got off the phone with him, I told my wife, I said, that's what I'm doing. And so, like, I spent a couple weeks, like, putting stuff together and figuring it out and doing some research. And then I put the feelers out and I started doing this podcast back in April. And this will be episode 23 or 24, I think, whenever it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've been averaging,
That's good.
I've been doing like, probably recording about at least 2 or 3 a week for the past 2 or 3 months now. So,
What's the positive effects, repercussions been so far? Has there been like anything that surprised you apart from connection and discussion?
um, what really surprised me is just the people that want to do it. Like the moment I
Yeah.
put it out, like the moment I put it out, so I released it on Facebook. Just the opportunity. I released it out there on Facebook, and specifically in Facebook groups. I don't know if you are connected to any of the Facebook groups for floors, like
Mm,
Badass Floors and polishers and concrete, and there's all kinds of them. There's a bunch of them out there. I posted it up out there. Within a couple weeks, I was booked 2 months out. Like,
true.
and I was shocked by that. And then what? It also just it's it. I didn't expect um the positive reactions. I get a lot of people that are just like really excited. They like being on here. They like telling their story, and then they like hearing other people's stories, and they like to hear. And selfishly, I do too. I like to hear how people struggle because I struggle. I like to hear how
Yeah,
people succeeded because I knew they struggled and then they succeeded. And man, it's just a good thing. And kind of going back to what we were talking about with the trades and like small businesses, like most people don't work for themselves. Most people don't own a business. Most people work for somebody else. So in
yeah,
order to take that leap and say I'm going to do this, like that takes a certain type of person, and
big.
and I want to hear about it. Like I want to know, like, what are you doing? Like you doing like it's nice.
Well, let's get into it a little bit. I'll tell you a bit about my story then, hey? And I want to riff on first concrete for a little bit as well, how the Aussies do it.
Hmm.
And I want to paint a picture for how it's coming over to the States
Hmm.
as well, because it's starting to come over to the States. So I'll give you a little bit of history on my story, and I'll interweave our supplier, our manufacturers, and how that's coming over to you guys. All right.
Okay, yeah, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so my history starts like this. In 2000, my father and his business partner started up a polished concrete company in Australia. And
Hmm.
there was a company here called King Concepts. So King Concepts, and they were the first company to come out with a dual drive grinding system. So that's where you had like the big you had like the big head that goes one way, and then you have the separate discs that go this way, and they're belt driven.
Yeah.
And my dad and his business partner went all in. Like the machines were super expensive. They had a background in tiling,
Hmm.
but they were like, we want to get off our hands and knees. Let's just do it. Let's see how we go. So they spent a fortune on it, and within the first week, they landed a couple of monster projects, and that was pretty much the beginning of Grindstones Australia.
Hmm.
So I'm Grindstones Reflections, but that was Grindstones Australia.
Hmm.
Um, I was 4. So I was 4 when they started their business, and I'm 29 now.
Hmm.
So I've grown up immersed in polished concrete and a part of a company that was pretty much pioneering it and a part of pioneering it in Australia and absolutely pioneered it in Canberra, the capital.
Hmm.
So, like throughout my whole life from that young age, I would be around when a new machine comes. Every school holidays, I'd go work on the tools. I would be like 14 and I'm working on the War Memorial or like the National Arboretum or like these big, prestigious, incredible projects. And I didn't realize at the time, but like I was in a very lucky and privileged position to be a part of that. Um, while the progression of their business was happening and while I was starting to learn the ropes and like fully deep dive into it, King Concepts, who designed that machine, sold their machine to and was acquired by Husqvarna.
Husqvarna.
So
Okay.
Husk, yeah, so Husqvarna bought King Concepts, and then they mass produced and just went boom and shot them all around the world. So
Yeah.
all of the orange machines that you see, like
Mhm.
all those really incredible orange Husqvarna machines that you see, were born in Victoria from the Van der Veen family. So the Van der Veen family are incredible, and they're still in Victoria now. Uh, they signed a non-compete with Husqvarna for 5 years that they wouldn't come back into the industry. And 5 years and one day, Grindstones Australia, so my father's company, got the call to say that Works Plus,
Hmm.
so that's their new company, was re-entering. And about 3 weeks later, I'm a young kid. I was still in college. College for us is when it's not university, it's prior to university. So I was 17.
Okay.
I was 17 and dad called me up and said, this company's back, Works Plus, they're coming to do a training day for 2 days. They're coming to train us on how to polish concrete. But like as this new innovative, incredible company came back into the industry, that was like my birth into polished concrete. So since the age of 17 until now 29, I've just been like partnered with this incredibly emerging, progressive, innovative company and just learnt all things polished concrete.
Mhm.
And about 3 years ago is when my father, it's nearly 4 years ago now, my father and his business partner went separate ways. So they both split off, went their own ways. They started doing some other work and they were finished with polished concrete. They were done. They'd been
Hmm.
working for quite a long time. So I cut a deal with my old man and my dad's business partner did the same thing with his son. And that's when Grindstones Reflections was born.
That's
So
funny.
I,
Your story is
yeah,
so eerily similar to my story. Like eerily
yeah,
similar,
yeah,
like same thing. Like take just with flooring in general, like with our dads, and then three
yeah.
years ago, and
Mhm.
that's amazing. And so,
Yeah.
how big is the polished concrete industry in Australia?
Well, the, I don't know if this is biased because we're from Australia, but after coming over to the States, the world of concrete,
Mhm.
and seeing the floors we're producing, I think that Australia is like ahead of the game in
Mhm.
mechanically polished concrete. And that's just solely because of,
Is that a
this
challenge,
is my
sir?
opinion,
Are you
that's a challenge. And
throwing down
that's
right now? Is that what you're doing? Are you
so
challenging the world?
the reason that I say this is because because the Van de Veen family in concepts started the dual drive grinder,
Hmm.
and they were very innovative in it. When they sold to Husqvarna, they went in and worked for Husqvarna for 3 or 4 years. But as soon as they came back into the industry, they were just like fast and loose, just like bringing out new diamonds, new products, all these new things. And it really like it's just come like directly from Victoria,
Hmm.
and that's just like spread out through Australia. And so I'm getting a lot of people from the States now, or people from around the world who are trying to engage me to talk about what we're doing because our floors are because they don't mechanically polish concrete how we mechanically polish concrete.
Hmm.
So like our system is it's up to a 13 pass
Hmm.
process. So like we do I'm on a ramble, but you can just pull me up or steer me in whatever direction you
No, no,
want.
you.
But I'm
This is your
engaged.
platform, brother. You talk.
I'm
I
engaged.
don't
So
worry. I got another one right here. So you do your thing, buddy.
so
There
the
we
way that
go.
we the way that I've seen it in America mostly, or in the States, or around the world, is a lot of 3 to 4 plus systems where
Mm.
you're using a guard or a wax or something to go on top of it, or you're using a topical system or something that's semi-penetrating. So it'll be like we'll impregnate in, but then leave a topical film, and
Hmm.
then they work with the film on top, or they work with that topical product.
Hmm.
Whereas, is that correct? That's generally what's happening.
Uh, I think that's a very large part of it. And don't quote me on this.
Yeah,
I'm not a polished concrete expert. Like I said, I do a lot of maintenance on them, but actual
yeah, okay,
polishing I don't do a lot. But we're gonna do this again. I have
yeah,
another
yeah.
guy that I did a podcast with. He was actually like my third or fourth one. His name's Ben Robison. Robison. Yeah, but he loves talking about stuff. All he does is polish concrete, and he loves talking about
Nice.
stuff like this.
Nice. Okay, so I'll just keep going. I'll let the question come through. So the way that we do our process is we start off with aggregate exposure. So
Hmm.
for us, if it's a full exposure, or say we'd say like a heavy exposure
Hmm.
mechanical polished concrete floor, we'll sink our diamonds in and we'll cut say 3 to 5 mil off in one pass. So we sort of sink the machine in. We create like this donut and we just mow forward and we'll take 3 to 5 mil off in one pass. We can remove anywhere from 35 to 40 kilos of waste, so material off the concrete in 9 to 11 minutes.
What
So
kind of vacuums are you using?
we're running, and these are from Works Plus as well. They're called a 55T, and there'll be no airborne dust. So
No,
we just did all of there's zero airborne dust.
that's
And like
crazy, man.
surface, yeah, and the surface dust as well. Like depending on how much you know how you operate, you can get a bit of water down, and it creates more of a clumping in the material. So like it's not so clumpy that you could like hold it and mold it together, but it's slightly damp. And when it's
Mhm.
damp, it sucks up quite
Yeah.
hard, and you won't get any leftover stuff on the floor. So
Oh, I've never
yeah,
thought of that.
so in initial pass is where we get our aggregate exposure, and you might get 90% on your initial pass. And then we follow up with our next grit, which is say a 50 grit. And then we're using a water-based acrylic. It goes out over the floor. We go the diamond tooling goes over the floor, creates a paste with the material that's getting removed from the concrete and fills all the pinholes and the voids in the concrete.
Mhm.
So that's step two. Step three, very similar process. We're using the water-based acrylic again. We're creating that paste. It literally takes off like the cement while creating a paste with the acrylic, and compresses it and pushes it into the holes and pours and fills all the cracks and everything. So
Mhm.
that's pass number three. And then we start to transition into polishing the concrete. So then we go like a 50 pass
Mhm.
with a potassium densifier, a 100 grit with the potassium, a 200 grit with the potassium, a 400 grit with the lithium, and we get 800 grit, 1500 grit, 3000 grit, sealer, buff.
And so your equipment, are they all electric, or are you running propane, or what kind of motor are on those machines?
Yeah, so we're running three phase,
Three
32
phase.
amp.
Okay.
Yeah, three phase, 32 amp. And the grinders weigh anywhere from like ours are big blocks, so they've got bigger motors on them. So they're like around 400 kilos for one that's 680 mil wide. And then we have another one that's 820 wide with a big block that's up around 500 kilos.
Mhm.
And then the new grinder that I've just put a deposit down on is a GK 850, if
Mhm.
anyone wants to look into it. And it is like a robot. It's like a remote control robot. I think it weighs about 630 kilos and it's an absolute beast. So
You-
it's meant to be about an extra 22, I think it's 22 kilowatts. 22
You're
kilowatts.
getting the Iron Man of grinders.
Have you looked at it? Have you seen it? It
No,
looks
no.
like
I'm just
I'm,
no. I'm just. This sounds like you're getting the Iron Man of grinders.
it looks like I'm,
Does it?
oh yeah, 100%. It honestly, it looks like Iron Man. It's incredible. I'll get a picture up on the screen for you quickly
Okay.
so you can see what it looked like. Um, I wonder if they just got a photo of it. And this is the reason that I came over to World of Concrete as well. I have a really close relationship with.
It does look like it does look like Iron Man, doesn't it?
It's like a
That is,
transformer.
yeah, our Transformer. Yeah, it's Optimus Grind right there.
Yeah, so
You
I have a
can't have that
close
Optimus Grind. That's mine. I'm using that later.
yeah,
No.
yeah, so I have a really close relationship with Works Plus and the Vanderveen family because I've been around them since I was a little kid. They live in Melbourne, so I don't see them that often. But when I found out that they were releasing a new grinder at World of Concrete, I thought like this is a good opportunity. I should go and be a part of it. And so
What
that's why I went over
about
there.
um the 1500, 3000, and the buff? What are you using for those?
So 1500 is just the grit of diamond and resin.
Okay. So you're just using it
Yeah.
you're just using your same grinder. You're not using like a 1500 bit grit burnisher.
No, no. So everything runs underneath the grinding that
Okay.
will like different styles of resins,
Okay.
and we run them on a ripping stick. So we have Velcro plates underneath the machine that lock in, and then you get like this sort of 50 grits, and they're on like on a ripping stick we call them. So it's like a Velcro piece of carpet,
Yeah.
and we just rip the 50s off, and then we just put the hundreds on, and then rip the hundreds off, and then put the 200s on, and we do that progressively up through the grits.
Okay. So you don't even you don't even really need to run a buffer or a burnisher over the floor. You do everything with the grinder.
That's correct. And there's like innovations in the industry, and there's like they have these other things called like X speed pads, H speed pads, and they're diamond impregnated pads that you can run under the machine, or you can run them underneath a burnisher or a poly wrap or
Okay.
something similar.
As with
Yeah.
every all the refreshes I do, I use burnishers to do my refreshes, but there's a company here in the US that makes these satellite pads, and they're diamond impregnated satellite pads that I can put on a
Nice.
you can put on a 20 or 21-inch machine or a 27-inch machine. Uh, I
Yeah.
don't I prefer, 27 is better because you get a wider, but I feel like I get a better fine look out of a 20 or 21, so I always use a 20 or 21 when I use those. And then you can go down as low as a 30 grit and then work all the way back up with just a burnisher satellite pad.
Yeah.
But I don't ever go that low. I usually try to bring it down to like 800 and then start back up
Mhm.
again when I'm doing a refresh,
Yeah.
depending on how bad the floor is. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
I'd love to be well versed in what you do because there is like a lot of like large so like say at airports or like some of our shopping centers
Hmm.
they'll have like guards or like more of like a film coating that's on top of the concrete
Hmm.
compared to mechanical polished concrete, which we like to do because it's more, in my opinion, it's more resilient, it's a better long-term finish.
Oh
But they'll
yeah.
come in and they'll strip they'll strip the floor overnight and have it resealed the next day.
Hmm.
And so they'll do that over like, big, it might be what's square foot, like 10,000 square foot. Like they're moving through it. Like cleaners do it. The cleaners are doing it, not even some floor professionals.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds similar to something that I do and or
You
would
guys
have
would do.
done. Yeah. I mean, because it's not a hard process like janitors do it, So
Yeah.
I spent a bulk of my life and I would tell people like I'm kind of a glorified janitor. Like really, like
Yeah.
the process isn't hard. It's the troubleshooting that kind of comes along with it and knowing how to do it correctly. And if you are doing large spaces, say you are doing like 10,000 square foot tonight, and then
Mm.
tomorrow night you have to do 10,000 square foot right next to it. There's a science and a finesse to it to try to make those
Yeah.
two blend together without seeing a definitive line in the floor, which is
Mhm.
a point of professional pride of mine to be able to put those
Mm.
two spots together and not see a line.
Yeah,
Um,
that's nice. I love that. I love
yeah,
that shit. I
like
love it.
to me
Just
that
that
was
right,
stuff like
right.
that. Like it was a point of professional pride. Like because when I used to do, I worked for Walmart for a while, and I'm sure you know what Walmart is. And prior to working there, like they hired me as a contractor for a little while to actually come in and help fix one of their stores, and they didn't close. They were open 24 hours. I was only able to do maybe 1,500 to 2,000 square foot a night. Usually smaller because the floor is in such bad shape. I had
Yeah.
I had to constantly redo it and redo it and redo it and like hit it multiple
That-
times.
That's that's still a large area, and like for me, like we sometimes we'll get large projects, but a lot of the times we're not getting like huge projects either.
Well,
So
we grew up.
yeah,
Well, I was growing up. We were doing full grocery stores. Like it was nothing
nice.
to strip and four coats of wax on a 30,000 square foot grocery store in one night, 8 hours.
Yeah,
That that's what we did.
sure. So that's 3,000 square meters roughly. It's 10x, 30,000 square foot. It's 9.6, I think.
If you say so, boss.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a pretty big area, man.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I released a video recently of me just putting one coat of wax on 30,000 square foot. About probably a month or so ago at a store, they just needed one coat of wax, and I came in and cleaned it really well and just put one coat on it, and it kicked my ass. I was exhausted. Like I was
Yeah, you would have been
exhausted.
fucked.
What's that?
You would have been fucked.
Oh yeah. But anyhow, that's interesting. So, do you have? I'm really curious about burnishers and buffers because that's like my hobby, I guess you could say. Is I buy them. People give them to me. I buy them and I work
Mm.
on them. I get them running. Buy them and sell them. I sometimes I cannibalize them. I made a grinder out of an old buffer, and
Nice.
mostly all of them propane. I like working on pro. Do you guys utilize propane down there at all, or is that not a thing?
We don't use propane. Like I would say in my life, I don't think I've seen a propane machine.
Really?
I don't- Yeah, yeah, they just don't like they're just not common here at all. And I don't know whether that's got to do with like ventilation laws and legislation around ventilation
Yeah.
potentially. We run it must because a lot of forklifts have transitioned out of being propane. So
Mhm.
what else may it be? It must be that that's the reason why because it can be annoying to
Mhm.
say the least, like dragging leads
Well,
around.
I was speaking with another guy recently. Excuse me, and he works. He's like a kind of like a distributor for a one of the grinding companies here in the U.S. On Floor Technologies. He works with,
Mhm.
and they don't make a propane machine. They only make electric. And he made a point that I never really thought about. With electric, if the motor goes out, you just replace the motor. Like it's just a couple bolts. You take the motor out, you just swap it out, or that's pretty simple. Whereas if you have a propane machine, you have a full blown combustion engine right there that anything can kind of go wrong. But uh, I like them. I grew up working on them. We use them in our stores. We've used them my whole life, and like I grew up. I remember being like a teenager, being like 16, 17. And like my dad gave me my first buffer and he's like, this is yours. I'm not working on it. You're working on it. So if something breaks on it, you fix it. And I put it in the back of my truck and just drove around with it. And I didn't cover it up from the
Nice.
rain. I didn't like sometimes it would come loose and it would just flop about just willy nilly, and so it was constantly getting broken. So I was constantly working on it. and because of that, I got pretty good at working on them, and so now it's kind of like become my hobby, and I enjoy working on them, and especially ones with Kawasaki motors. Those are like my favorite.
So,
Um,
are you talking about the ones that are sort of like that side to side motion, if you pick up, or are you just
n-
talking about
n-
ones that are just a high speed burnisher?
it's just a high speed burnisher, and you push
Uh,
it just straight like
nice.
you just push it just like your grinder.
Okay. So if you want to talk about those, I think after going to World of Concrete,
Hmm.
best bang for buck one that I saw that I thought was incredible and that I wanted to pull the trigger on, which I haven't, was HTG Zimi, which is a Chinese company.
Hmm.
You could see this thing. It's slick. It's on my Instagram as well. I put up a little post of it, and it is slick, man. It's like it looks gorgeous, and the performance and the weight and everything. It's a really nice machine, and they were using it with diamond impregnated pads underneath, and they
Yeah,
polished this concrete up to like I think they were running a 3,000 pound. You know, it looked good, looked really good. So
that
I'll look
sounds
at that.
that sounds really cool. Like, are you gonna go back to World of Concrete again,
You know
or is it?
what? I told myself I wouldn't because well, I also went through like a separation about 18 months ago,
Hmm.
and I was like, fuck it. I'm 28. I'm going to Vegas. Oh.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, my business was popping off. I was so excited about
You
the
know what that
industry, and I
means?
was like,
That means you're a bona fide American, sir.
yeah, it was like, yeah, pretty much. I was like, I need to get over there. I want to go and learn about the industry. I want to go and have some fun. And then when I left there, I was like, I don't think I need to go back to Vegas.
Hmm.
And then as it's like slowly progressed, actually, to be honest, so the last 5 months, from February 7th, I completely quit drinking. I pretty much just erased anything from my life that I viewed as a negative that wasn't like
Hmm.
bringing me up and making me feel better internally and like being a part of my vision going forward, I just completely erased from my life.
That's
So
that's great.
yeah, so it's been like this journey where like a lot of really good things have happened since I've done that. And so when I think of going back to Vegas, I'd have such a different relationship with it. I don't think I'd be going back there drinking or doing those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but I'm like, I didn't think I would go, but in the last couple of weeks, I'm like, when I went to Vegas, I learned so much and I was so inspired, and I felt like I could take on the world after going there because there's like, you see how much money's getting poured into the industry and you see how much people are innovating, and it did really good things for my networking. It did really good things for how my the way that people perceives my business,
Hmm.
like in terms of marketing and things like that as well. Like I won a lot of work just because the fact that I was out there in like going to Vegas, like going to the world of concrete, like getting immersed in it, showing people my passion for the industry.
Hmm.
So I've started to consider going back. So
I
sorry, I can,
so I think you should. So first off, I think
yeah.
you should. Second of all, I didn't get to go this year because
Mm,
to be quite honest with you, I didn't know about it until like late
yeah,
last year. I didn't know it was a thing until late last year.
yeah,
And it was kind of too late for me to try to figure it out. And then I really could have went. I was available while it was going on,
mhm,
and my wife was like, "If you want to go, we can try to make it happen." Ultimately, I decided not to. I didn't want to throw something together at the last minute.
yeah,
That being said, I'm glad I didn't go because I've started this
mm,
podcast now, and I've met people, and now I know people,
yeah, yeah,
and I know
yeah,
people that go, and they go
yeah,
every year, and so now, like, if I do go, I'll go and I'll know people.
mm,
And and so there's going to be like this whole connection of, if I do go, there's a whole networking thing that can kind of go with it. And
mhm,
I have this podcast now. Like, imagine, imagine having like a, panel podcast at the at the World of Concrete.
yeah.
Of guys like us that just like talking about what we do and just enjoy it. And like so hopefully this next time I'm probably going to try to figure out how to make it happen.
Just
And
make it happen. Just commit to it right now. You're
uh,
going.
I really have. I'm just saying that just to be modest, but I've pretty much decided, yeah, I'm going. So,
Yeah, that's good.
but you should come. You should. And
All
uh,
I need is that. That was the invite.
well, there you go. Now we're both committed at this point. So,
Yeah,
and don't worry,
one thing.
I will not share my beer with you since you're sober right now.
We'll see how I go if I get back over there. One thing that's
I give up the alcohol like every couple of weeks. I'll be like, all right, I'm taking a week off, and I'll take a week off,
yeah, and then
and then
it's time again.
I'll be like, you know what, I'm a little thirsty. Let me grab one. So
Yeah, nah. For me, it's been more of what has it been? It's been more of like a mental health thing, and um, like I said, I went through a separation and it fucked me up. And I have
yeah.
two young kids, and I have like a business that's like growing, and like we're doing really good things. And I'm like, I've had a really good opportunity here in my life to like execute on the last 10, 11, 12 years of working. So like I worked for my father's company for nearly 10 years. And then I
Mhm.
started my own company, and it's like I've got a good opportunity here. I enjoy what I do. I've got employees. It's like let's just piss off all the negativity and just see what happens in my
Yeah.
life. And since then, like a lot of like really incredible things have happened. So it's like I'm just going to stay on that path and continue to put my best foot forward and see what happens.
So what when you're not working, Jake, what do you like? What are you doing to help like decompress? Like, what are you when you come home from
Good
work at
question.
night? What are you doing? And then like today's Saturday for you. Are you working a day? What are you doing? Like you just hanging out with the kids?
So, no, so I've got my kids 50-50.
Hmm.
So I will do the week that I have the kids, I do like my 9 a.m. drop offs and my 3 p.m. pickups.
Hmm.
And so like the week that I have the kids, I'm like very like I prioritize my kids. I still am obviously working during the hours that I don't have them, where like I'm out of the office or I'm going to jobs or doing whatever I have to do to keep things like running efficiently and effectively.
Hmm.
And then the week so like that grounds me. Like that's my week where I'm like, I'm doing what's important to me, which is like being present and a really good father.
Hmm.
And then when I don't have the kids, I go a bit crazy with work and I usually like up my work
Yeah.
output, but I also spend a lot of time like in the gym. Like I really enjoy running.
Hmm.
I do. You'll laugh. I don't know. I do like breath work. I do meditation. I'm like a really curious person where I just like to learn about things. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I became addicted to American politics. Like I love Sean Ryan. I love Tim Ferriss. I love Jocko Willink. I love Joe Rogan. I
Yeah.
love Rich Roll. I love like yeah, so like I feel like I just have like all of these things that I can tap into that keep me busy and it's
Look
like
into Mike Rowe when you're looking next time you're looking for a
yeah,
podcast. Look
okay.
Mike Rowe, the way I heard it with Mike Rowe. Uh,
Nice. I think I've heard his name definitely.
and
Micro.
so the way I found him as a podcaster was he was on Theo Vaughn's podcast
Oh nice.
a couple years
Nice.
ago. And I was like, this guy's making a lot of sense. Like, I remember him from Dirty Jobs 20 years ago. I didn't know he was still around. And then, like, I started listening to him on Theo's podcast and then found out he had his own podcast. And I was like, this guy is great. And then a couple months ago, he was back on Theo Vaughn's podcast. And he's not even a comedian, but he is so funny. Like
That's funny.
he's fun to listen to because he's very sarcastic and very dry sarcastic, and I like it. But that's great, man. You know, it's
That's
funny. It's
good.
like there's even more more similarities. Like I got married early on, and then I got divorced too, and yeah, I was trying to figure out being divorced in my 20s. I didn't figure it out. I had a substance problem. I sincerely did,
Yeah.
and it took a lot for me to kind of figure that out. And all that is kind of how I ended up at Walmart a little bit was because I couldn't manage running a business and living off of it. So I ended up like I needed a job that actually paid me to be there, and uh, but I'm remarried now, happily remarried. So
Nice.
with also
What was your substance of choice?
what's that?
What substance was your what was it into? What did you
Oh
struggle with?
man, Well, I drank way too much. That was one. Like I drank, you know, most of my profits from my floors went down my throat, and then I had a real bad pill problem for a long time. I broke my leg in on a motorcycle wreck, and I bent it backwards at the knee,
Yeah, nice.
and like that hurts already. And then like my business is walking around on hard floors, pushing equipment, so it's like it put a damper on things, and
Yeah.
then I got addicted to pills while I was on it, and I was at a real pill problem for quite a while. I've been off them for a long time, and I don't want to say I was an addict, but I just had a problem. Like it was a real problem.
Yeah.
If someone was to put some pills in front of me right now and be like, "Hey, you want one?" I'd be like, "That's kinda," but no, thank you. And and then like I had a bad experience where I had some bad weed that was laced with some stuff, and
True.
it put me in the hospital. And I was in the hospital. I was like, they thought I was gonna die, and it
Wow.
that was actually like the best one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Like I was very
Nice.
close to death, and
Hmm.
um, it wasn't an overdose, but it was just like they thought I was gonna like have going to like have a heart attack and a stroke or something like that. I don't really remember much of it, but it scared me really badly. And for about a year after that, I didn't drink, I didn't do pills, I didn't smoke weed, I didn't do anything. I haven't smoked weed since then. I smoked weed probably 3 times since then, and that was you know not good because it just didn't sit well with me after that. And then like even for a year after that, like I said, I didn't drink, I didn't do pills, I didn't do weed. I didn't even drink caffeine because I was afraid it was going to jack my heart rate up for like a year.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
lost a bunch of weight right after that, and it really kind of straightened me out. If I hadn't done that, I'd be a crackhead right now. Like if that hadn't happened,
Yeah. So
I would
it was the
sincerely,
necessary.
yeah, if I
Yeah.
hadn't done that, like I would sincerely be a crackhead right now or dead,
Mhm.
you know. So, but anyhow, my life's a lot different now. I'm married. My wife, we've been married 8 years now. It'll be nine next April. We have we have two
Nice.
kids together. We have a 5 and a 7 year old, and you know, pill free for a long time, drug free for a long time. I do drink,
Yeah.
probably a little bit more than I should, but I'm a middle
Nice.
aged dad, sir. I'm allowed to.
You don't have
Yeah,
to justify yourself to me. I don't
yeah.
think that there's any issues or concerns. In fact, thank you for being open and honest and sharing the story. I've, I don't know. I think a lot of people have certain personalities. Maybe that's the thing that is what like drives us, and that's that thing that like makes you also like run a business. But like I was always like I loved weed when I was younger. I've lived a life of doing things that were silly and didn't benefit me
Mm.
in a positive way. And now that like I'm still young, I'm 29, but now that I've had kids, now that I've had these opportunities, I've seen the light and just been like I don't want that to be a part of my life, but I don't regret doing it, and I don't have any negative association with it because it's why I am who I am, and those struggles and those things are like that's what makes you who you are.
I have this feeling, like obviously I don't know you very well. We just met, but I have this feeling we're a lot alike, and like, um, addictive personalities. I'm addicted to anything I like. It can be good. Like
Yeah.
if I like it, if it's something good, like I get addicted to things. Like when I get into working out, I get into it. I work out every day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like I have to physically remind myself, don't work out today. You have to take the day off when I get into it.
Right.
Like
You might have
and
to take that off.
you don't have to take days off. That's crazy talk. A few years ago, I got really and I'm still kind of into it. I've been off of it a little bit, but I was really into the carnivore diet because of Joe Rogan. Like he introduced me to it. I got pretty heavy right after me and my wife got married. Like I got really heavy. So during 2020, I discovered he was talking about the carnivore diet. He had a bunch of people on talking about the carnivore diet, and so I thought I'm gonna try this thing out. I loved it. I lost 100 pounds in less than a year.
No way.
100 pounds in less than a year, eating nothing but bacon and eggs and steak. Uh, and it was great. Like, and I was addicted to it, and man, I loved it. And I still try to be low carbish, but it doesn't work, especially if you're drinking one of these, two of these every night when you come home from work, you know. But like I said, I'm a middle-aged man. I'm allowed to drink this, Jake. So
Yeah, you've seen a lot. Maybe like it sounds like you've steered yourself back on the right path, and you know what's too far for you. And people know what's right for them anyway. So like, if you felt like you had a negative association with drinking and you felt like you needed to stop, like your internal system will just tap at you and slowly tell you.
that's pretty much it. Like, when I don't think like when I do take breaks from like alcohol, it's not because I feel like it's a problem. I just feel like I need better sleep. I need better health. Like I need to drink some
Mhm,
more water. I need to cut back on the beer, add in some more
mhm,
water, and move my body a little bit more. Just not not because I think I'm drinking too much because it's a problem. Because
mhm,
but it's more like I need to be healthier. I need to be a better like how can I enjoy my kids if I'm just exhausted and spent because I drank a little bit too much and didn't sleep very well the night before, and then I'm kind of exhausted and I'm stiff as a brick when I wake up and
mhm.
pushing a grinder, across concrete all day, and my grinders are not as good as yours, so mine suck, and like they destroy my body, and I don't have a stand-up edger, so when I'm doing my edges, I'm down on the knees, kind of, doing the circular motion,
You
and then
know
I'm
that's the best way to do it. Down on your knees. I don't the stand-up grinders. I'm not a edges. I'm not a fan of them at
it
all.
takes it takes it takes the artistry out of it, doesn't it? Like just do it. You get the better feel for it when you're on your hands and your knees, and you can really get it. But it takes work. Like you gotta really practice at it.
Yeah. I'm gonna steer the path a little bit. Are you following anyone in the US who's doing similar style of floors to what we're doing, like the mechanical polished concrete? You have to. I could probably make a suggestion for the past over there.
Okay, sure. Who?
Yeah, yeah, I'd get like the boys from Grind Kings Flooring, or I'd get Henry or Joe from Top Coat USA, Top
Grind
Coat Service.
Kings,
Yeah,
and
Grind
then
Kings. They're two young. They're two brothers, and they've got the same machinery that we've got. And then I'd go Henry or Joe Hunt, and they're
uh,
from Top Coat Service USA.
so
Th-
grind
Those,
grind Kings. Are they in the U.S. too? Or are they in Australia?
yeah, they're no, they're in the
They're
US.
in the U.S. Okay. No, I
Yeah, they're
will
from
add.
Atlanta. They're from
Oh,
Atlanta,
oh, my neck of the woods.
and is it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Top Coat, Top Coat Service USA is from Massachusetts.
Okay.
Massachusetts. Yeah. You know what? I think that the mechanical polished concrete will begin to shift and seep into the US market a lot more now
Mhm.
because um, I know that our suppliers pushing in over their cards. I know that there's people who are selling the same diamond tooling that we're using over in Australia over in the US now.
Mhm.
And I know that there's this massive push for polished concrete at the moment from all of the big suppliers, and they're pumping like huge amounts of money into the industry to help innovate it.
With this push, what's the competition like for you locally? Like, do you have a lot of competition there, or do you kind of have an edge in the market, or do you not have competition because you're just so damn good?
No, we've got how would I explain it? Australia has a lot of people who are polishing concrete, but there's a scale, there's like a level to the game. So I would say in the Canberra region, which is population I think about 500,000 roughly in Canberra. It
Mhm.
might be a little bit less. There's I'd say there's like one, two, three. There's probably four companies who can polish concrete to a really high standard.
Mhm.
So like that and they're at the peak. Between those four, there's different dynamics again, where everyone has their own little niche
Hmm.
or like their own little things that they do. But then there's probably another 15 companies who offer polished concrete or do like grind and seals, or who are a flooring company who does timber, but then does grind and seals on the side and all these sorts of things. There's enough work in Canberra because we're like the capital city of Australia that there's a lot of money here from the public service sector.
Hmm.
So, like, while a lot of other states were struggling throughout the last 2, 3, 4 years, Canberra did as well, but we had a little bit of a bubble where we had probably a little bit more work than other people.
Mm.
Um, we seem to be landing some of the what we do well is we retain clients. So as soon as one of our competitors makes a mistake or doesn't maintain a relationship properly, or they do a bad job or something like that, as when the client finally gets to us, we hold on to them forever.
Yeah.
They're our like yeah. So our biggest difference is the relationships that like I get to build with the client or the builder. And like I really educate and inform them on how we're going to do the floor, or how they can make the right decision for their home or their project. And then we just execute on it. It's like inform them, educate them, set expectations, and then just deliver on the expectations. And so I would say pretty much, well, what? In the last 4 years, I've never haven't been paid for a job. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, so like we've had like issues and we've had things that go wrong, but we address them and fix them or put a plan in place, or we're like open communicators. So we have a really high-end client base and some of the best builders in the region, but there's also other companies who have really good relationships and do really good floors as
Do
well.
you do you have relationships with any of your competitors? Like, do you kind of keep in
Yeah.
touch with them and like
Yeah.
sometimes feed back and forth, or
Yeah. So
start are you starting turf wars down there? Like, what are you doing?
this is new. This is the new cultural shift. That's the new generation of flooring, and something that I'm like, really open to and like pushing forward with. Where there's only one company in Canberra that I don't have a relationship with, and
Mhm.
that's just because they've been around for such a long time, and there was a bit of riffraff, and I've ended up with one of his really good employees.
Mm.
And there's just like there was too much competition between us, and
I
we just need to
gotcha.
mend that relationship. But I'm open to mending that, and then all of the other competitors, I have like I'll talk to them. Like we're connecting via social media now. If they have an issue or concern, we can like have a conversation. We chit chat. We're not like best mates who like help each other out, but it's more like healthy competition now, where it's
Yeah.
like, and I don't have a like if they win a job off me or something like that, or like we go in against each other and they win, I'm just like, oh well, next job, who
Yeah.
cares? Yeah, I don't really
I
care.
met a guy on the podcast recently from Texas, and I asked him that
Nice.
same question about relationships with competitors in his area, and he goes, I wouldn't. He goes, he goes, I don't know about relationships, but what I do have is strategic alliances. He goes,
Nice.
so strategic alliances, which is good, and I don't know, like I know some of the guys in my area that do what I do, which is mostly epoxy, not necessarily polished concrete, but mostly epoxy. Sometimes polishing, but mostly epoxy. And it's like I know some of the guys, not a lot. Um, the guys that do VCT, I know all of them, and
Mhm.
for the most part, if you're within some 100-mile radius, I know of you, or we know each other somehow, and it I don't have a bad relationship with any of them. Like so, there's been multiple times I've been called, "Hey, can you do this job?" No,
Yeah.
but I know two other guys. I can give you their numbers, and and it kind of works out because I can shoot some work their way, and sometimes they shoot work my way, and it's nice. Like it costs me nothing. It costs me nothing to help out, somebody else. Like
My viewpoint on it is I've had a negative relationship with polished concrete, or like we do epoxy floors as well.
mm,
So but I've had a negative relationship with it before where you're like a single person standing behind a machine operating it, and it's loud noises, and like you can get in negative feedback loops where it becomes a struggle mentally. And
Hmm.
like as soon as something goes wrong on a floor, like you want to pull your hair in. Like it's been so difficult for me at times where like, like I say you're not a true polished concrete master until you've had a mental breakdown and then come back to the game. So like you
Yeah.
have to break down and then you come back. So like my philosophy going forward as like a younger person now is like, how can I help other people? How can I like collaborate or like bring them up and just be open and honest so that we don't have to have like negative relationships and we can just help each other. And I haven't had any negative experiences with having relationships with people in the industry. It's only been good. Like we had a lunch project that we're about to start and it got put back 2 weeks. And I just called up one of our competitors that like 3 or 4 years ago when I worked for my father's company, there's no way I would call this guy. Like it just wouldn't happen. And I called him, I'm like, we just had this big job get put back. You got anything? He's like, yeah, I got there's three, so nearly 3,000 square foot of first stage grind. And he's like, it's just sitting there. You can go and get it started for us. I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, get into it. And then about a month later, they had to meet a deadline at lunchtime on a project, and it was for a big project in town. And their machine broke down, and it was like 7 a.m. in the morning. And he called me. He's like, our machine's just broken down. And I was like, we'll have one in 15 minutes. We'll just around the corner. And so we
Yeah.
let him use the machine. Yeah.
That's
And
nice. That's nice.
yeah. But we
Um,
wouldn't do that again. We're not firing that machines anymore. Well, we wouldn't do it again.
yeah. Well,
But,
you know
but
what? Like
we still have a good one.
it's
Yeah,
the brotherly thing to do sometimes.
yeah,
Helping somebody out. It costs. I mean, sometimes maybe it
yeah,
costs something, but it doesn't really cost much to show a little compassion and also share the wealth a little bit. Like if you can't do something, it doesn't mean no one else can. Just because I can't do it doesn't mean no one else around town should. Like
hmm
I'll put you in touch with the right person. No, number one, like if you call me and you need me to do something and I can't do it, you know, and I put you in touch with somebody who can, you still might call me later, and that person might
yeah,
call me later. So there's all that. How we've been talking a little over an hour now, and I don't want to keep you here all day, but
yeah.
how big of a radius do you go from your house? Like how far do you travel for work?
We've got a radius of about 3 hours,
Three
and that
hours? Okay.
pulls us up. It pulls us up like just before we get to the center of Sydney.
Okay.
So like we stay out of the big cities. Like when I initially started, we were more open to travel because I was like, we just need money. We need to get through goals. Like let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah.
And then as we've like cemented ourselves in the Canberra region as like someone that like that people want to use,
Hmm.
we've been in Canberra more often. There's there's a couple of little funny holes, like little hot spots, like little towns uh, where we've got like a substantial amount of work. So like one's near the snowfields. So Jindabyne is this booming place. Like since COVID, the house prices have 3x.
Mm.
Um, or so like Australia has like there's two really good snowfields, but Jindabyne is the main one,
Hmm.
and there's not enough infrastructure or there's not enough housing to support the influx of people that go there during the ski season. So
Hmm.
the only people who afford to go there is pretty much people who have got a heap of money. So like right now it's just going like boom. So in summer when the snow's not around, we're up there doing like these like multi-million dollar projects. We just finished sorry, we need to finish externals, but it's a 10,000 square foot private residential solar off-grid home up in the mountains there. And every single finish is like mechanical polished concrete internally. So nearly 7,000 square feet, 700 square meters. And then there's a 300 square meter balcony that goes around it with like custom sunken fire lounges. We have a 300 mil drop face edge that's fully exposed, and we've done bullnose edging on over 300 linear meters of concrete there, and it's like all this custom designed concrete and slabs. And so like we'll travel for jobs like that. That's just like
Hmm.
happy to travel for those sorts of jobs. But yeah, about a 3 hour radius. How about you?
That's uh well so
Yeah, me too.
I'm like in a unique place.
Hmm.
A lot of what I do is businesses. So I have it in with a certain tire company, actually. I do a lot of work for this
Hmm.
particular tire company, and it started off with just some of their local shops, and now I have all of them. And
Nice.
so I travel as far south as like 4 hours from home, and I've traveled as far
Nice.
north as like 9 hours from home, you know?
Yeah.
And so for them, I travel like kind of all over the place, and we do it, whenever they need it. And not only do we maintain their floors, but when they want to transition, they're slowly transitioning all of their floors to epoxy, because it's a mechanic
Uh,
shop as well. So whenever they want to do a floor replacement, I'm the guy they call. So I do all their floor maintenance and all their floor transitions, all their floor installs, wherever that may be. So it's nice. And then also outside of that, like I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I can be in Atlanta, Knoxville, Nashville, Birmingham, and Huntsville, all within an hour and a half. And those are all cities that are bigger than Chattanooga by a huge
nice.
majority. So I'm like right in the center of everything, and I go to all those cities fairly regularly for work. Um, but for like residential, like homes, usually those are the ones that those are actually doing residential, like an epoxy garage floor or something like that. Like when I do those are like that's about the only time I actually get to work close to home because everything else is far out. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, so, but I'm a capitalist. I go wherever the money is. Kind of like how you said when we first started your business, you were like, "Let's travel, let's go," and that's kind of the mentality I have. Although it's not so much because I have kids and I don't want to leave my wife at home for 3 or 4 days or even a week to go work. Even though it
Uh,
might be good money, I don't want to put a hardship on her for a few dollars.
yeah.
So, but I also like I kind of run like another question I'm gonna get to is like kind of what your crew is like. I kind of run like a skeleton crew. I'm kind of like almost it's hard for me to let go. Like I would never quote a job and then send a crew of people to do it and me not show up,
Mhm.
or me just kind of stand there and point my finger around. Like if I if I quote you a job, I'm going to be here and I'm going to do it. So it's like
Yeah. No.
me and another person. The only time that I have people work for me and I don't see them is if they're just like doing just general maintenance on VCT, which we do all the time. So I have people that do that, and I trust them to do that because it's kind of like just like a glorified janitor. Tim, if you're listening, I'm not saying you're a janitor, buddy, but that's kind of like it's kind of they can do that. But like anyhow, if I quote a job, that's it's just me that does it,
You
and
own it.
me and somebody else, or me and two or three other people. And I also have a 16, almost 17-year-old son from my first wife, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and he works with me a lot too. So I'm kind of teaching him the tricks of the trade as well. So, which leads me to my
Nice. I
next
was
question on yours. Like, what kind of crew do you got?
so we scale up on bigger jobs. So
Hmm.
at the moment, I've got myself, Tom, Eric. My old man's come back and he's working with us as well. I have a casual employee who's coming in and out, and then I have someone helping with administration.
Hmm.
So she's virtual assistant. He lives like 12 hours away from me.
Hmm.
But then this time last year we had nine of us working. So we did the Tuggeranong State Park. It was how do I say this? So it's 2,000. It was nearly 25,000 square feet, but it had 4,000, a bit over 4,000 square feet of vertical ramps.
Oh,
So we hand ground all the skate park rooms.
wow.
So we did a full restoration on all of those. And when that was happening and we had other jobs running, that's when I would check into contractors and they'll come and help us.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that might happen like 3 or 4 times a year. We have like a bit of a bigger job on, and that's when we'll tap into other contractors and get them to work out. But I, oh, you go.
Oh no, I was just going to ask, like something I meant to ask earlier. You were talking about bigger jobs, but it made me think of it. You guys do the grinding? Obviously, that's your bread and butter. But
Mhm.
do you ever do any like maintenance, post work maintenance on the floor? Like, say a job you did 4 or 5 years ago, they call you, hey, we just need like a refresh or something on it. Is that something you guys do, or does your mechanical Polishing does not need a refresh. One and done, baby.
It's like if you do it properly, you don't like that. You don't need to refresh it for
Don't need to refresh it, huh?
like 10, 15 years sort of thing. Like easily.
So
Like
you do a
they're
floor, you do
real.
a floor, and you can walk away for 15 years and you're good.
We just walk away. Like they're so resilient. They go from like 25 millipascals, like 25 MPa concrete, up to about 70 MPa, and they are
Do
rock
you walk
solid.
around with a constant erection, sir?
Yeah, I do, man. I'm just full of fucking densifier, mate. Like
That's
they're really like resilient, good quality floors. Like I'm looking at one now, and I polished this. I think I polished this maybe 4 years ago,
mhm,
and it's straight off out of the backyard into sliding doors, so it gets like trampled on and walked on all the time. And it's a
mhm,
split level. It's just a small area, and then it goes up to timber stairs,
mhm,
and then it goes timber hardwood floors, like recycled hardwood timber floors. The hardwood timber floors have a topical seal, so probably like a guard on them,
mhm.
and they are scratched and damaged, and like they look like sick. They look like they need to be sanded and resealed, which you would understand.
Yeah.
The polished concrete looks like the day I did it.
Well, there's something to be said about that, man. Like
Yeah, it's
a lot
incredibly
of
productive.
so
It's probably yeah.
so a lot of retailers in the US are transitioning from VCT to polished concrete, which is why I was kind of wanting to make that switch years ago because it was taking money off of our, money away from us if we're not doing VCT. So we'll use Walmart as an example. For
Mhm.
years and years, they only had VCT in their stores, only VCT.
Yeah,
They owned they're the world's largest retailer. So they figured out, well, it's just cheaper to own our own VCT company. So they bought the company that makes VCT tile. So when they needed it, they just had it because they owned it. And then
makes
when they would
sense.
remodel a store, they would rip up the VCT, um, and then send the old VCT out to be recycled, turned into new VCT so they could use it in their stores. But they discovered that they were doing that. Even owning the VCT, they were spending.
Too much
I want to
money.
say, I want to say like 300 some $1,000 to replace the VCT at each store every like 5 to 10 years. And then the added maintenance of having employees that do nothing but strip and wax the floor, year round. And then the added expense of the chemicals and materials needed for the stripping and waxing. And then you have to also factor in the negligence of the employees who don't know what they're doing and they're
Yeah,
using too much, using too little, ruining things, having to overdo things. And then the floors that just look bad because it's white tile. And if you do anything other than what you're supposed to properly do with it, it's going to change colors and look bad. And then
yeah.
they decided about, while I was still working there, this was probably 6, 7 years ago, they decided, uh, we're not doing VCT anymore. All these tiles are coming up and we're polishing the concrete. So the last store I worked at, I want to say when it got remodeled, they polished the concrete and it was an upfront cost of like 600, 700,000 dollars to do in the entire building. But it's one and done.
That's done.
It's
It's
one
done,
and done.
baby.
It's done. Like, so I will tell you this. I don't know how they did it, but they're not doing it like you do it. Like
Yeah.
it needs refreshed. It needs like it's been they did that remodel in 2021 and I left in 22. Uh but when I go in
They
there
garden.
when I go there it's not it's it doesn't look as good as it did the day before or when they did it. It's dull.
Yeah.
It's wearing down. And then also like you spill I don't know what it is. Like you spill bleach on it and it stains it and it's just stained forever.
True. Yeah, that's
It's sta-
interesting. So that like polished concrete as well. So if you pour water onto it,
hmm
you'll get a hydrophobic beading effect. So
hmm
it'll bead on top.
hmm
But if you spill red wine on it, you're gonna
hmm
wipe it up in 6 hours, 3 hours. Well, even straight away, it pretty much gives you. Like we've got say 6 hours or so before it starts to like seep down into it. So
Hmm.
it's not a topical seal, but it gives you enough time to wipe away and
Yeah.
sort out the product. And that's dependent on how tight you get your polishes. So like if I'm using a lot of silicates, like if I'm using a lot of potassium, a lot of lithium, and I'm using a lot of sealing,
Hmm.
and so like we do high quality floors, it's going to be a lot better than someone who doesn't know how to polish a floor properly, who doesn't use as much as what we use because they haven't closed off the surface properly.
Hmm.
So that is one downside to it, but the positive is if if I right now I've got a bit of acid or if I've got some bleach and I spilt it on the floor, I can go and get my hand grinder and I could come here and I could re-blend it back into the floor so that you can't see it anymore. So
Yeah.
there's opportunity to repair the floor without having to repair a whole section. So like you can go in and blend a section this big instead of having to finish to a line, grind to the line, and then recoat, and then have different finishes on each one.
Hmm.
So it's quite incredible, like that. But that's another one of those things. It's a bit of an art form. It's
Yeah.
like trying to
But those are the
blend
things
in
we like,
polish.
man. Those are the things you like. It's like those little tricks. Like no one else
Yeah,
can
yeah, I
do
love
that.
it.
It's like I used to like so I used to like challenge people, find where my line was. You can't.
Nice.
You can't. And
Yeah,
so like 3 or 4 months ago. No, this was back in February. So I do work for another contractor locally. Now he's about an hour and a half away from me. And he has a crew that strips and waxes the floor. So that's all they do. They don't do anything else. Monday through Friday, they strip and wax floors. Store full blown retail stores, whether it be 5,000 square foot up all the way up to 50 or 60,000 square foot. That's all they do. And so he called me and says, "Hey, we got this store. The store is kind of small, um, but they don't want to move everything off of their floor for a floor strip. They don't have room to move everything off. They want to move everything off a certain area. Maybe you strip that one area the night before, and then my crew will come in the next night and they can do the other side, but they can, finagle stuff around that way.
yeah,
But their line is going to blend into my line." So I thought, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I did my side the night before, and I made a video of how I did it, which I ended up posting, and then I made a separate video to send to the contractor. I said, "Look, this is where it is. This is my dividing line. This is how many coats of wax is here. This is how many coats of wax are there. This is how many coats are over there. So it can help them blend it in." He says, "Okay, cool. I'll send it to my crew." Like I came back in a couple weeks later just to see how it turned out. And they
amazing.
like smeared stripper all over what I had done. That there was like watermarks and like swirls in the floor. And I was like, "What is this crap?" Like I worked really hard to like make this where it could be seamless. They didn't
Yeah.
try at all. And like,
I know, that's bullshit. How about this? I priced a commercial project and I missed out by the value of the floor covering. So
mhm,
the contracts administrator said, and it wasn't big. It was like it would have been like a couple of dollars a square meter
mhm,
between the value of the floor covering over. I think it was small. It was 100 square meters, 1,000 square foot, and it was a mechanically polished concrete floor. And I went back there to look at defects
mhm,
recently. We didn't win it; the other contractor did.
mhm.
And there's all these big gouges and scratches and marks and stuff through
Mhm.
the floor. And I'm just like,
Do you find
don't
yourself do you find
don't
yourself everywhere you
disrespect it.
go? Do you find yourself everywhere you go looking down? Like everywhere you go, you're just
I,
looking down. You go on
you
vacation,
know,
you're looking down.
I do. I really look down all the time, but now, like my focus, which is probably a little bit different to you, and the reason that it's like this is because of my kids, is that I'm not on the tools as much as I was. So,
Mm,
I've been on the tools for say for 10 years, I was on the tools every day. And in the last 2 years, I started to be away from the tools more. I still
mm,
get on the tools and I'm still guiding people and teaching people and doing those sorts of things. But
mm.
because I have my kids 50-50, I found myself in these positions where I was on like a pretty cool job or like I'm on the grinder and like the alarm goes off and I'm like, I've got to be a dad now. Like I have to go. Like I don't have someone else who's going to look after my kids. Like I need
Yeah.
to get to school and pick them up. And so I remember doing that for like I did it for a fair while where it'd be like, I get off the machine and like one of the boys comes and gets on the machine and I'm just like, get off my grinder.
Get
No,
out of here, son.
yeah, and then I'll just walk away. The more times that I've walked away and the more times that they got on the grinders, uh, the more pride they took in the work, the more that they learned, the more responsibility that they took on. And, like that you make mistakes or like you have to help navigate through issues or like help them out or like sometimes we'd restart jobs and that was fine. It was just a part of the learning curve and it was a really good opportunity for me to detach from being on the machine. And now I'm having more opportunity to work on the business, not in the business. And then they're getting to grow as people and as technicians in the business as well. So that's been like a really cool learning curve.
How much of a learning curve is that? How hard has it been to transition to like trying instead of being not just owner slash foreman, but now you're being
Mhm.
owner foreman and actually focusing on running your business because that can be kind of it can be to me it's what I want to do more of that. Like I try to do more of that but it's kind of scary because it's like I don't know where to start and like if you make a wrong decision as the foreman, like you know, like all right, I know how I can fix that real quick. Like if you make
Yeah.
a wrong decision, it's like you know how you can fix it. If you make the wrong decision as like the business manager, whoa, you're talking about company payroll there. You're talking about a lot of stuff. Like so it's a little scarier.
It's absolutely 100% reignited my passion for what I do. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. It's just like another opportunity to learn about myself, to balance myself, to give other people opportunities. And I've really loved being able to be like open, honest, and transparent with the team and just be like, here's everything I know.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have your own little twist on it. Or you're going to have your own little way that you do things, or you're going to learn differently, or you'll probably even be better than me at certain things. And it's like right now, like I need to focus on making sure we have work come in. I need to make sure that I'm going out and meeting this new client. I need to make sure that I'm doing other things, or like I have to go and pick up my kids. You need to hold it together, man. And so
Yeah.
I've created this really different dynamic now, and it was it was hard, but it was sort of forced due to my personal circumstances. It was like I didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a necessary growth curve, and I love it now. It's been really good.
That's good. You mentioned
Yeah.
your kids multiple times. How old are your kids?
They are nearly 4 and 6.
Four. Our kids are really close in age too. Mine's 5 and 7. And then
Crazy,
also
hey?
also my 16-year-old is too, but he kind of doesn't count because he's almost not like a kid. Like he's
Yeah,
just another dude at this point.
yeah, that's cool.
We
That's
watched
sick.
Indiana Jones together the other day. It was a proud dad moment. It was nice. Yeah.
Nice. That's so good. A proud dad moment for me is when my kids say to themselves, they say back to self. They say like back to self. And it's like,
Back to
because
s-
that's what I say to them. Back to
okay.
self.
Back
Yeah.
to self. Okay.
Yeah. No, no, back yourself. So
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, because I was saying to them, like, back to self, like you can do it. And like my son's he's what, so he'll be 6 in September and he can do 6 chin-ups.
Nice. He's
Yeah, and
wor-
it's like
he's
that's
already working on it,
exciting.
huh?
He's working on it, so he's got
Yeah.
that internal drive. I need to get going in a couple of minutes. I need to
Okay, no,
sign
that's
out.
fine. I
I've
was
done
thinking the same
plenty.
thing too. So I do have like like one more question. It is not floor related. I've always heard that there's like this tension between Sydney and Perth. Is that a real thing or no? Like they're like nah, like we don't like each other.
Nah, nah, more so I would say between there's weird dynamics between the states, but Perth is so far west. So it- like from Sydney to Perth is huge. Like that's thousands of kilometers. It takes
Hmm.
probably I don't remember how long it is. It's like hours and hours in a plane.
Hmm.
Um, but between like Sydney and Melbourne, or
Hmm.
like I'm sorry, like Sydney North, Melbourne South, or like Sydney and the Gold Coast, maybe
Hmm.
there's a little bit of tension. I'm not sure, but
Is there a road?
we're pretty good.
Is there a road that goes all the way across the country? Because I felt like I had heard somewhere that like they were kind of disconnected, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Nah, there is a road. There's a road that goes across, and there's a road that goes all the way from north down the east coast to
Have
south.
you ever done that drive like just across country?
I've I haven't driven across to Perth, but I've driven from like Canberra to the east coast, and then all the way down the coastline, all the way to like Victoria, and then to Adelaide. That's central, more so central south,
Hmm.
and then back up to Sydney, and then Sydney all the way up to the top of Australia, and then back down.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
seems
So
like a
I've been
big
to every.
that's a big chunk of real
Yeah,
estate.
yeah. Australia's huge, man. And we just give all of our resources to China and everyone else, and we don't touch
Ah,
them.
there you
So,
go. That's what it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you start
I got this shit.
do you guys start feuds with New Zealand? Like start like turf wars with them or something?
Man, it's so tigers.
See, that's what we do here in the US with Canada. We don't take them seriously at all. They're like they're up there drinking maple syrup or something, you know.
Nah, New Zealand's incredible. I've got some good relationships with people over there, and I've spent time over there. I'm actually flying over to New Zealand. I think it'll be September 1st. We're going over there to catch some kingfish and go snapper fishing, and
Sounds
that's
awesome.
yeah, I'm doing that in the weekend with my best mate. It's his 30th birthday. But then I'm going to go and spend some time in Auckland with the owner of Mega Diamond Tooling, and he's also got a floor grinding company. And he has a really interesting story because he bought the first ever King Concepts machine. So,
Hmm.
you know how I was talking about King Concepts
Hmm.
earlier? And now he has, I think, 30 to 40 of those machines, and he has nearly 40 or 50 employees in New Zealand. So I'm going to go spend some time with him because he's like a innovator, industry leader, absolute godfather of the polished concrete industry.
So what you're saying is we need to schedule our next podcast when you're there. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
reading between the lines here. I got you. Let's do
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so Jay's incredible. He's really, really good bloke, and I've just met him at a seminar, and he came to World of Concrete as well. So
Yeah.
I think he's said he's been to nearly 15 World of Concretes, so he goes to them all
Oh,
the
so
time.
he's the godfather of concrete, huh?
He's good.
He's the guy. Okay. All right, Jake. Well, I'll
Yeah.
let you get off here, man. But I was thinking the same thing. It is after 2 a.m. in the morning, so my wife's probably wondering what the hell I'm doing down here. So,
Um, yes, I'll share one of your posts on my social media page. I'll put something up, one of your videos or one of your reels.
okay, yeah. Yeah, if
Are
you
you on
just look,
Instagram or just Facebook?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Nice.
And
Nice. Okay.
And like I said, when this airs, it'll probably be like probably 3 weeks from now ish.
Mhm.
It'll be on YouTube and Instagram, and I'll send you the stuff for it too. That way you have it. And then yeah, if you want to look me up, like you can just look at my Facebook page. You can see everything I do. It's on my Facebook page and it's on my business Facebook page. So it's on my personal and my business, and then it's
Mhm.
also on my TikTok, my YouTube, my Instagram. So I'm
Nice.
way more
Can I
active.
ask
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
closing question? For your spread of social media, are you using a certain platform that you put your single file or format or video into and it disperses it into all four? Or are you
No,
individually
I
posting?
have to do it individually. Uh, At least, I mean, like I told you when we first started, like I'm a one man band on all that. Like I do it all. So I'm like, if there is a way, I wish there was a way. Maybe there is a way. So if someone's listening and they know a way, or if you know a way, you tell me because I'd like to know. But right now I'm doing it. I'll make one video and I'll re-upload it 4 times.
There's one that I haven't, but my brother actually set it up for me and I haven't maintained it. I'll try and find it for you. I think there is something that does it, but I haven't made a commitment to YouTube or TikTok really yet. I have a couple of things on YouTube, but nothing too exciting. And the reason why I'm not on YouTube is because you have to shoot everything horizontal. You shoot horizontally. If and I shoot a lot of my stuff off my phone.
Well,
Yeah,
so if you make long format, you would want to do it horizontally. But
yeah.
I'm, I've made two long format videos, and that was when I first started, and I haven't done it since. I still just do the YouTube short, so I still use my phone upside correct ways, and I use my
Is the
phone from.
YouTube is the YouTube short the
It's
same
just
format as Reels?
same thing, yeah.
Oh, true. Maybe I should start putting all of my content into YouTube Reels.
So like personally, I get
Mm.
way more views on Facebook than anything else by a huge majority. Um, like like a huge majority. Like on YouTube, my average video, my short might get three, 400 views, maybe. You know, I just released one the other day. It had nine. It still has nine. And then,
Yeah,
but then I released one that got like 2,000 for some reason. And then
yeah.
Instagram, I don't get a lot on Instagram. I do okay on TikTok, but Facebook is where I get most of my views. But I get more people on
What's
Facebook because I connect with a lot of people that are already in the industry and they're kind of looking.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So what sort of a view rate are you getting on, say, Facebook? You know, like,
I mean, mine isn't huge.
well, I'm not. This is not a
but
judgmental question.
but
Like, I
like
don't.
probably I've got three or four that are upwards of like 30 to 40,000 views.
Yeah,
On
nice.
average, I would say between 5 to 10,000 views on average.
Man, it's actually crazy. Like sometimes I'll get like a videographer and we'll do like a full shoot and I'm like putting in like talking to the camera and like doing all this shit and then like I wait like 3 or 4 weeks for it to come back and I post it and I get like 1,000 views. And then I'm thinking like just do a shit caption, throw it on.
Yeah,
And then like I like on Instagram and Facebook, I think one of them's got like 2.6 million and then I have like
yeah.
180,000, like all those numbers and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I've had that happen before too. I've had it happen where like one of my videos did so well, like, and I it was like you said, I just threw it together. It was like just a real
yeah,
quick thing, and like I
yeah,
didn't think anything of it. I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. Let me just throw that out there real quick. And then the ones I spend a lot of time, like let me just meticulously put this thing together. Like
good
it just
stuff.
kind of meanders on and does what it
Yeah.
does.
Mm,
So,
all right, I've got to wrap this up, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
all right, yeah, man, we'll do it again. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad we were able to make the time work to connect. And hey, man, I like what you're doing down there. Like I said, you're in my algorithm, and
Yeah.
I'm watching, and I'm sure there are other people watching too. So keep doing what you're doing, and we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. We'll do this again.
Cheers, Dustin. See you, man.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.